What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I've often talked about on this channel how the government likes to stick its nose into things like social media, both, well, for a couple of reasons. I believe, first and foremost, is as a form of control. We see this with their constant bickering with Facebook because they want more control of it. They don't need to bicker with Twitter because Twitter is already far left leaning and censorious and all the things that the government wants. That's why I actually started posting again on facebook.com/thequartering. So if you haven't yet, maybe give that a follow if you still use Facebook. Otherwise, you can still follow me on Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, literally every alt tech that I can possibly get my hands on, I post to. But Facebook's back in the mix because, well, quite frankly, I talked to some people at the Daily Wire and at Post Millennial and about their numbers. And it seems like Facebook is still, reasonable. We'll see. Anyway, if you use Facebook, follow me there. Now we're looking at 2 years in prison if you dunk on somebody online. I don't really know how else to describe this. It's psychological harm, so to speak. Here's the thing. So you see the Times posting, social media users could face 2 years in prison for sending messages or posting content that causes, quote, psychological harm under the government's new online harms bill. Ministers are looking to include so-called Twitter pile-ons as a possible offense. Now, this is coming out of the UK, but it's extremely important here in the West too, because I think that there's quite the litmus test. A lot of these same policies basically surround America, both in Canada and the UK. And this is obviously getting demolished online, but I don't think that the general online public is taken into account with a lot of these crazy new laws. You can see this meme. I ended a man and I ratioed somebody on Twitter. And then the guy moves away. Yes, Your Honor, I did ratio him. However, he ratioed me on the previous reply and I responded back. The people simply agreed with me more. Charges dropped because it's self-defense. I mean, everybody is just like, this is like, it's like a memeable moment, but also like, it's extremely concerning. It's my content, content in the UK is Google and Twitter and stuff like that. Are they going to change the way they operate because of this new law? Trolls, quote unquote, could face 2 years in prison for sending messages or posting content that causes, quote, psychological harm under the legislation targeting online hate. Now, we all know the purple-haired individuals that already suffer from various mental illnesses are going to jump all over this. They're going to see this as a way to make money. They're going to say something stupid online. They're going to get dunked on, and people are going to go to prison. The Department for Culture, Media, and Sport has accepted recommendations from the Law Commission for crimes to be based on, quote, likely psychological harm. Now, this, of course, brings, forth the conversation again. It's a conversation that happens all too often about, just turning off the computer, just logging off. Very few people have to be online. This whole argument that like somebody was mean to me online and I just couldn't put my phone down. It's difficult to quantify. Or, there are things online that are verifiable and, should have, in my opinion, some, concern around it. For example, doxing, or, things like swatting. These are actual things that I would be concerned with. Not like somebody says something stupid online and then people dunk on them. The new offense of, quote, threatening communications will target messages and social media posts that contain threats. It would be an offense where somebody intends a victim to fear that it will be carried out. Well, this would never last in America. Half of my Twitter interactions would be, and by the way, the ones that I receive, not the ones that I send. The new offenses will also include so-called pile-ons, where a number of individuals join others in sending mean messages to the victim on social media. The Times was told that the plans have been set to cabinet for approval. Nadine Dorries, the culture secretary, is intending to add them to the bill, which, when it is introduced to Parliament next month, and by the way, again, you're going to have a bunch of boomers, many of which believe that stupid things like, oh, bad things in video games make people do bad things in real life. These are the people controlling our technology, not just, yes, this is in the UK, but also it is not that different than the United States. And, if we look at just the Western, the United States government, we have about a handful of people, a very small handful of people who even understand online culture. And most of them are on the left. Most of them want to control speech. Most of them would probably back stuff like this. I mean, leave a like on the video now if you could see AOC championing this. Or like, what's that other idiot from St. Louis? The squad members who, want to defund the police while spending $150,000 a month on private security or a quarter or whatever it is. The move is likely to be met with resistance from freedom of speech campaigners and civil libertarians. David Davis, a former cabinet member, said assessing based on the impact it has on the receiver is way too subjective and urged the government to rethink the proposals, especially given it hailed the legislation as world-leading. The executive director of the Open Rights Group said the new harm-based offenses were way too broad. The government spokesperson said, "We are making the laws fit for our digital age. Our comprehensive online safety bill will make tech companies responsible for people's safety, and we are carefully considering the Law Commission's recommendation on strengthening criminal offenses." Are you joking? So if I make a video and I'm criticizing somebody, right? And they say that caused them great mental anguish, it's YouTube's legal responsibility. All this is going to do is squash comedy and satire and critique. This isn't going to actually protect anybody. I mean, it's interesting to me that people, this is not the first time, by the way, in the UK, for example, you've seen this kind of thing creep up. And a lot of this stuff finds its way to the West, further west into Canada and the United States. And everybody dunking on this are not people who, for example, most of the people making fun of this aren't going to have to live under it. But I have a lot of viewers in the UK and Canada. And so from time to time, I have to cover this. And it's also important because this is just a preview of if our government continues to, embrace this insanity. Me getting 25 to life for the massive ratio I dropped on some Brit. There's like insane, going to get real complicated real quick. I mean, how are you supposed to quantify if somebody says, oh, that caused me great harm, that really upset me? Okay. Imagine calling the cops on someone because they ratioed you on Twitter and getting those cops ratioed. I don't know. I mean, it sure seems like a very, as Orwellian as it sounds. Would you be surprised if we would see this this kind of nonsense come to the United States? It's scary. This is why we have to be, even casually, if it's, you have to be involved in what your government is up to, because stuff like this has probably been bubbling up for years. Remember what was it, Bill C-10 or whatever it was, where they were trying to do the link tax, which would effectively destroy my YouTube channel? That's still something that's being worked on. These legislations are put together by people that don't understand the internet, that don't understand online culture, and just want more control. That's all they care about. People need to be involved and they need to let their governments know that this kind of control obviously is never going to be acceptable, and you need to watch out here in the United States because this kind of stuff is coming. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.